Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Thai Talk with Dan. Now, at present, I'm trying to get back into the routine of providing you guys with daily videos, sharing your stories about what has happened to you here in Thailand with the Thai woman that you have chosen. Now, recently, we've been receiving a lot of stories about girls within the entertainment industry, but it's not just those girls that are causing the problems here in Thailand. For me, I've heard thousands upon thousands of stories in the last 7 years that I've been living here, and by far the worst stories that I've heard are to do with government workers, teachers that are in large amounts of debt and hunting guys down on the dating applications and then rinsing them for all they can. It can be quite horrific, and I'll probably share a story in the future about one particular woman that eats men for breakfast that lives right here in Buriram. I just need to be very careful that she never gets to see the video. So guys, in today's video, we're going to share a story about a guy that fell in love when the Phuket sandbox was open during COVID times. So strap yourself in and get ready for today's Thailand story. Hi Dan, hope you're well, and I check your channel daily to hear subscribers' stories, and also good to see how you are doing. Cheers. I just want to share with you my story about a girl I met in Thailand. It was a very special experience for me, as I had been thinking about writing into you for some time and sharing it with all of you. Names have been changed for anonymity. It was COVID and they had just opened the Phuket sandbox, which was a great relief for me because I knew I did not have to do quarantine, and at this time Bangkok had been locked down, meaning I would leave quarantine into a lockdown. I'd been working hard all through COVID. I was very tired and also saved up a fair amount of money. I've been to Thailand before on holiday and always wanted to go back for a prolonged period of time, so I decided I would not let the restrictions get in the way and I would go to Phuket. The sandbox was a bit of a joke really, but I went through the motions and did my 2 weeks of staying at a special hotel and regular testing. During this time, I took quite a few girls back to my hotel, and as long as they were vaccinated, no problem. I really wasn't looking for anything more than just pay for play, but a persistent lady on Tinder kept pursuing me, asking me to go on a date. I kept making my excuses, but eventually I gave in, as sleeping with working girls can be quite soul-destroying. Don't get me wrong, if you find the right girls, you can have some of the most mind-blowing nookie you have ever had, but afterwards you're alone again, and it's a very lonely feeling. I was staying in Chalong at the time, which is a bit off the beaten track. Mai was her name, and she met me outside the hotel with her friend Pim, and they took me to Nahan Beach. I was blown away by the beauty of the beach, and even more, the beauty of Mai. As soon as I laid eyes on her, I couldn't believe my luck. She was 32 and I was 44, and absolutely stunning in a girl next door kind of way. Pim chaperoned our first 3 dates, and on the 3rd day asked why I hadn't taken Mai home yet. I explained in my country it was normal to date a few times before going home with someone, and I didn't want to push my luck. Pim's English was better than mine, so it was useful that she came along on the dates and helped things along. But now it was time for me to go home alone with my... My friends told me it was a good sign that she came along with a companion for the first few dates. This was apparently Thai tradition for someone who is looking for a long-term relationship. That night was amazing. I couldn't believe my luck, and we went on to have the best time ever. The best memory I have of us together is at Kata Beach. I remember picking her up from work and getting dinner from the street food vendors and just laying there on a mat watching the sun go down with her in my arms. A beautiful sunset, and I just couldn't believe I was in company of such a beautiful woman. During this time, the hotels were cheap and Phuket was empty pretty much. We stayed at the best hotels, we ate Thai-style food, and she took me to all the places we could get cheap massages and all the hidden beaches and fantastic hotspots of Phuket. It was amazing, the best time I've ever had in my entire life. During my time with Mai, I made it clear to her that I was going home at some point and I may never return to Thailand. And I'm not looking for a wife, and I do not want children.
I will cheat you, hurt you, lie. Master's my friend. You don't have any friends.
She said she was okay with this, and I reminded her many times that this was the case. We started off hanging around together a few days here and there as she was working part-time at a hotel. She had her hours cut because of COVID and was on reduced pay, so for her being with me made her life survivable at that time. I kind of understood this, but I still believed and maybe still believe now that she really liked me and she hoped that I would change my mind and commit to her. We were together for around 3 months, and there were stages where she stayed at mine for over a week. At one point, I had to ask her to go home for a couple of days because I needed my own space. I'm not going to lie, I am a bit of a commit phobe, and I felt trapped and I cheated on her while she was away a few times. I took her for granted if I'm honest, and also I've been abrupt and disrespectful in the way I communicated with her, which I really regret, as well as cheating and lying to her. It's weird in Thailand, as this behaviour can become almost normal and tolerated. Anyway, after 3 months I decided I wanted my freedom back, and also the restrictions had reduced so I could travel again. So, I decided to go to Bangkok and then head to Koh Samui and some other islands. We stayed in contact on video call and it seemed to be going well. She said she was back to work full time and she was working hard, but I sensed something wasn't right. She became distant and less invested. During my time away, I slept around with different women, but it just wasn't the same. I decided to return to Phuket and be with Mai again. I missed her so much. About a week before I was due to return, we argued on the phone, and I said to her, I think something's going on, and I think she has met someone else and was just stringing me along.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
I've already booked my flights back to Phuket and also booked a hotel close to where she worked so she could see me when she finished work in the evenings and on her days off. She was well aware of all of this, but I guess too cowardly to tell me or just keeping me on the back burner. On many occasions, she used the term, "don't think too much." Great advice usually, but in the context of this scenario, it was blatant gaslighting. She admitted she had met another guy and did not want to see me anymore, but only because I pushed and pushed. So having paid for all my hotels and my flights, I've returned back to Phuket, single and rejected. I remember feeling depressed, and the hotel I stayed at was noisy and had a rock-hard bed with a prison blanket. I felt truly awful. Once again, I met many women in Phuket, but it just was not the same. I tried a couple of times to rekindle our relationship, only to be rejected. I had just come to terms with this and given up when one day received a phone call from her asking to meet up. The guy she had been with had gone home, and I was starting to understand what this relationship was about. I asked her to be honest with me, and she admitted that she had been talking to other men. We agreed to get back together, but on the terms that I now knew what she was about, and I knew that she was just juggling many guys in the hope that one of them one day will settle with her and look after her. Now, we would have Nookie, and she would have to go outside her home to speak to other boyfriends she was grooming from other countries. I kind of accepted this, and at least I now really knew her, and we became friends with benefits, I guess. To be honest, it wasn't the same as before, but it was convenient, and she never asked for money, although I would pay for dinner, all the activities we did, the hotels, and sometimes I would sneak the odd 500 baht into her purse. I forgot to mention, when we first met, she kind of followed me around a little bit, and she would buy me gifts, such as t-shirts and other small gifts. I can see now that this was kind of grooming me into a belief that relationship was not about money, but the fact is that I looked after her during COVID, and when she found someone else who was more generous than I was, she left me, and when they broke up, she would contact me again. For every baht she spent on me, I spent 100 on her. She never worked as a prostitute as far as I knew, and I would ask her if she's going to sleep with lots of men, why not get paid for it, and she says, I don't do that for money. During our total of about 4 months together, we'd have Nookie literally every day, and I was too tired to look at other women on the most part. I have to say, for the amount of money I spent on us having a good time, I must have got laid over 150 times and also had the best time I've ever had with anyone. She was funny, beautiful, and great in bed. We even made a 35-minute tape, which is a great reminder of our time together, and I have to say, it was pretty good. I honestly hope that she finds a knight in shining armour who will look after her. Sometimes I think I missed out on a good opportunity with a really nice woman, but I've since got in touch and she's not interested in anything romantic and has just suggested meeting up as friends. I can't help but have very strong feelings for her, even to this very day. And I didn't mention how horrible and rude she has been to me in the past. Maybe I asked for it, to be honest. When Thai women want to get rid of you, they can be very cruel. I can't help but still love her. Another thing I will say is that we never used contraception, and she would have been quite happy for me to have fathered a child with her. In the UK, we call this baby trap. In Thailand, basically, the foreign guy gets them pregnant, the baby goes and lives with the grandparents, and the foreign guy gets rinsed of a lot of money. How can I say this? She would literally invite me to pop my beans in the oven, as have many other Thai women I have met. So the moral of the story is, even if you're not paying for nookie directly with a Thai woman, there is always a cost. Don't get me wrong, if your girlfriend earns the equivalent of $15 a day, then if you didn't offer to pay for things, that would be weird, because in the UK, we earn maybe $150 a day. Basically, I think Thai women, especially in their 30s and 40s, are seeking security. They want to feel safe and they will go to any length for that to happen. And if you are a cheap Charlie, chances are they will find someone more generous. I don't regret our time together, and I still love her very much. I think I understand now that most relationships that work out between foreigners and Thai women are relationships where the man can afford to provide a good life for the woman, and that includes her family. Spot on. The other fact is that the average looking guys can get younger, better looking Thai women based on their generosity and wealth. I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule, but isn't it true in any culture that women want security? I went back to Thailand this year after COVID, and my God, it was nowhere near the same experience. Accommodation was more expensive, the place was full of tourists. I feel very lucky that I got to travel Thailand during COVID. It will always be an impossible act to follow, and I still love my very much despite everything that happened. Am I stupid? Simple answer is yes. But aren't we all? Relationships are very confusing in Thailand, and if I'm honest, my advice would be stick to pay for play if you can, but as we all know, even that can get complicated. My advice would be enjoy the car crash and try not to be bitter. And don't get married and buy anything in a Thai woman's name. My friend got married and fleeced for a $700 salary for around 2 years in a loveless marriage where they hardly ever saw each other. Weird, isn't it? Kind regards. Right, firstly, thank you very much for sending in your email and sharing your story on the channel. It's quite obvious where things went wrong, but maybe you just didn't see it. Let's say a normal Thai woman, a normal Thai woman that's looking for a long-term partner isn't going to be interested with a guy that basically states that he's not looking for anything long-term. You didn't want to commit to this woman, so straight away you were off the menu. However, like you stated in your story, it was COVID time. Her hours got stripped from work. She wasn't making enough money. So obviously, she needed a man around and you was there at that time. You stated you wasn't doing anything long term. So of course, she's going to be seeking another guy that is going to be looking for something more long term because that's what she wants. These women don't like to, especially like 30s, 40s, etc., don't like to mess around for fun. They want to get with a guy that's going to commit to them. And as soon as you said that you wasn't going to commit, it was dead and buried. So she wasn't going to invest more of her time with you. But if you're going to chase her and you're going to wine and dine her, then she might as well have a free meal and have a guy that's treating her good for the time being if there's nobody else there. Hence why when that guy she was seeing went home, she decided to contact you because she had nobody else. So rather than spend her own money on dinner, she might as well spend yours. It's as simple as that. But guys, let me know what you think about this story down in the comments. And if you have a different view and a different take on things and you want to advise this guy, then please put your comments down below. I'm back to doing daily videos again, guys. I'm going to try and push them out because I have a massive backlog of videos. My son's not been very well over the last few days. He's had a high fever, a load of phlegm in his throat, runny nose, a constant cough. But he's a hell of a lot better this morning, thank God. And I've sent him to nursery. I spoke to the nursery this morning. They were fine to have him back. They looked at him, checked him out. So and I've checked on CCTV in the nursery and he's having a good time. So that's all good. Now, guys, if you do want to share your own Thailand story, and I'm particularly interested in stories where you've not met a woman, like within the entertainment industry, where you've apparently met a normal working lady, whether she's a government worker, working in a hospital, a teacher, a lawyer, an accountant, whatever the case may be, working at the local meatball stall, whatever it is, please share your story, good and bad, so people can understand the experience that you've had, so people can be safe when coming here and getting involved with certain types of Thai women. Guys, get your emails sent in to thaitalkwithdan@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe, take it easy, and if you're on a holiday, just have a good time. It is what it is. This is Thailand. Ciao for now, guys. Bye-bye.